Hello, my dear student of 4th primary. How are you? Today's lesson is lesson 15 in unit 7. It is called division and multiplication. Well, after learning strategies that help us in division in the last lessons and having in mind the title of this lesson, what do you think we will talk about today? هنتكلم على ايه النهارده؟ Today we will see how we can use the relationship between the multiplication and division to check the quotient and how our knowledge of base value helps. Let's first review what we have learned in the previous lesson, and we will do that through Access part on page 318 in your school book. In the activity, spot the difference. Let's see it all together. Here in Access part, as you see here, we have two problems solved using the standard algorithm. We are asked to مطلوب مننا to identify the differences between these two problems. Now I'll give you some time to identify عشان تحددوا as many differences as you can. And now after we are back, let's discuss the differences my students noticed in my class when I showed them these two problems. تعالوا نشوف my students قالوا لي ايه differences between these two problems. First of all, they noticed that one problem has a remainder and the other doesn't. As you see here, this one has remainder 1 and this problem has no remainder. The answer is 0, so I have no remainder. Type here we have two subtraction operations. In the first one, I make two subtraction operations. In the second one, I have three subtraction operations. Here I do three subtraction operations as you see here. كمان قالوا لي point مهمة جدا وعجبتني قوي, which is that the dividend in both problems is 3-digit number. هم لاحظوا in the dividend in these two problems are 3-digit number. طيب, but in the first problem, the quotient is only 2 digits. As you see here, the quotient is only 2 digits. But in the second problem, as you see, the quotient is 3 digits. Here, the quotient is 3 digits. يبقى dividend in both problems was 3, but in the first one, the answer 2 digits. The second one, the answer was 3 digits. Any one of you noticed these remarks? في حد لاحظ remarks اللي أنا قلتها دي؟ And why are these differences here? وليه difference دي موجودة هنا? Now let's find out more about the reason in build part. Now we are asked to estimate the quotient of 276 divided by 3 and then find the actual answer. يعني الأول هعمل estimation وبعدين مطلوب مني to find the actual answer. Now let's solve this problem all together on the board. Now we want to divide 276 by 3. تعالوا نكتبها كده 276 divided by 3. Okay. If we want to estimate the quotient, عايزة أعمل estimation للأنسر بتاعي. What digits would it be close to? Let's make use of our previous knowledge of multiples and of what we have learned in the last lessons. Now we could round 276 into a benchmark. Which is what? Yes, which is 270. Okay, 270. Then what should I do? One might choose 280. ممكن حد تاني يختار 280 as a benchmark. I will choose 270. Why? Why will choose 270? Because as you know, 27 is multiple of 3. 27 موجودة في table 3. Okay. To arrive at this answer, let's think of one of the patterns we use with 0. How many times can we repeat 3 to get 27? يعني 3 times what equals 27? Right, of course, 3 times 9 gives me 27. So let's write it. 3 times 9 gives me 27, right? Okay, type 30 times 9 gives me what? 270, right? And what else? Of course, 300 times 9 gives me what? 2,700. Okay, so could you say that the quotient 276 divided by 3 will be greater than 90, right? But it will be very close to it at the same time. Another person might say the following: in order to find the quotient, I will use my knowledge of the multiples of 10 and 100. So 300 is 3 times what? Yes, 300 is 3 times 100. لو عملت 3 times 100 gives me what? 300. Right? That means what? That means we know that the quotient will be between what and what? Will be between 90 and 100. يبقى الانسر بتاعي هيبقى between 90 and 100. Okay. Now, let's solve this problem all together using the standard division algorithm, okay, to know the actual quotient. Now, the problem, as you see here, is 276 divided by 3. I will set up the problem vertically. أول حاجة هعملها, I will set up my problem like this. I'll put 276 here and the 3 here, okay? Then, what should I do? Remember that we always start with the biggest value. Before I start, I want to remind you about the steps: division, multiplication, and subtraction. Okay, I will start with 2. Take care, this 2 is 200 and not only 2. So, can I divide 2 by 3? Can we divide 2 into 3 equal groups? There aren't enough 100 to divide among the 3 groups equally, right? So, I will need to regroup the 100 and tens. So, I will take 27 divided by 3. Now, like we have learned before, we will start with the tens. So, in the number 276, I will take the 100 and the tens. So, we will divide 27 by 3 to get what? Who can tell me 27 divided by 3 equals what? Of course, 27 divided by 3 equals 9. And take care, you must put the 9 in the tens place and not the 100. Okay, I finished the division steps, so I will move to the multiplication. I will multiply what by what? Of course, I will multiply 9 times 3. This 9 is 90, so 90 times 3 gives me what? Of course, 90 times 3 gives me 270. I'll put my answer here. Then, what should I do? Of course, I will move to the subtraction step. So, I will subtract 270 from 276. I'll subtract these two numbers, so the answer will be 6. Okay, here I have 6, so I repeat all the steps again. I will start with the division step. So, 6 divided by 3 gives me what? Of course, 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. This is the first step. Then, I'll move to the multiplication. I will multiply 2 times 3. 2 times 3 gives me what? Of course, 6. I'll put it here. And the last step, I will subtract 6 minus 6 gives me 0. And here I have finished my question. Okay, now we have solved the problem and there is no remainder. If I have here 0, so I don't have any remainder. And if you take a look at this problem, you will find that the dividend is 3, right? Okay, is 3-digit number. Sorry, the dividend is the 3-digit number, which is 276. Okay, and the quotient, how many digits? Yes, the quotient is only 2 digits, right? And that's why, because the digit that had the highest place value, which is 2, less than the divisor, which is 3. لو بصينا كده هنلاقي إن 2 less than the divisor, which is 3. And that's why we have the quotient only 2 digits. So we added the 100 and the tens together, then we divide. Now it's your turn. We have 6 problems in page 319, 320 in your school book. Before we start answering and finding the quotient, you are asked to first look at all these problems. Let's see the problems all together in the book. Okay. Here in these problems, مطلوب مننا ان احنا to identify which ones will have the quotient with fewer digits than the dividend. يعني ايه؟ يعني هنحدد which problem quotient digits بتاعتها اقل من dividend digits بتاعتها. And circle these problems. Before we start answering, let me remind you again that we don't need to answer the problem. مش محتاجين خالص ان احنا نحل البروبلم بتاعتي عشان نعرف المطلوب مني. All we need is our previous knowledge of place value. So we will look at the digit whose place value is greater in the dividend and see if it is greater or less than the divisor. هشوف الديجيت ده أكبر ولا أصغر من الديفايزر. Now let's start. Okay, now after you have finished, let's review the answers all together. Here the problems that have digits of the quotient that are less than the dividend are what? Yes, problems number 1, 2, 4, and 6. Let's circle them. 1, 2, 4, and 6 in the next page, like you see here. Okay. طيب. These are the 4 problems. Now, just like we have said that this because we look at the digit with the greater place value in the dividend. Take a look with me at all the digits here in the dividend are less than the divisor. تعال نشوف كده. 3 is less than 5, which is the divisor. And in problem 2, 1 is less than the divisor, which is 6. Also in problem number 4, 1 is less than 7, which is the divisor. Okay. Now we'll regroup it. طيب ما دام النمبر ده أول نمبر في الديفيدند smaller than the divisor هعمل إيه؟ هضطر إن أنا أعمل regrouping with the next digit. يعني هضطر إن أنا أعمل 34 divided by 5, 12 divided by 6, 14 divided by 7. Okay? But in the rest of the problems, as you can see that the digit that has a greater place value, أول digit في الديفيدند in the rest of the problems is greater than the divisor. Like for example in problem number 3, 8 is greater than the divisor, which is 3. وكمان في problem number 5, 4 is greater than the divisor, which is 3. So we'll start to do the division right away. All right, now let's answer all together problem number 4. Here as you see problem number 4 and find the solution all together. Now we are asked to find 3 things. مطلوب مننا to find 3 things. أول حاجة estimate the 2 numbers which are the quotient will be between them. مطلوب مني أحسب أو أعمل estimation للأنسر between what and what. Like we did at the start of the lesson. طيب تاني حاجة مطلوب مني إيه؟ Answer the problem using the standard division algorithm. Then you must check your answer. تعالوا نشوف بقى هنعملها إزاي. Here in problem number 4, he wants me to divide 1429 divided by 7. To estimate the quotient, we can round the dividend to the nearest benchmark. أقرب benchmark ل 1429 is what? Yes, أقرب benchmark to this number is 1400, right? So, we will ask ourselves, what is the number that when multiplied by 7, we will get a number close to 1400? يعني 7 times what gives me 1400? Yes, we will use the zero patterns. We know that 2 times 7 equals 14, right? Then 20 times 2 equals 140. تعالوا نكتبها. 2 times 7 equals 14. And 20 times 7 equals 140. What else? Of course, if I multiply 200 times 7, the answer will be 1400, right? So, what should I do next? Yes, so that being so, the quotient is a number greater than 200. الquotient هلاقيه number greater than 200. At the same time, it must be less than 300. ليه لازم يبقى less than 300? Because if I make 300 times 7, تعالوا نشوف كده 300 times 7 equals what? Equals 2100, which is greater than a number اللي أنا عندي اللي هو 1429. So the quotient is between 200 and 300. And this is my estimation. And now let's start to divide 1429 by 7. Okay, let's draw it all together or set up my problem. Here I write 1429 divided by 7. First of all, what should I do? Yes, the 1 is the digit with the biggest place value. I will write my steps here, division, multiplication, subtraction. Okay, so I will start with 1. Is it 1 or 1000? Right? 1 here represents 1000. So, can I divide 1 into 7 groups? Can I divide 1 into 7? Of course, no. So, what should I do? Yes, I will regroup the 1000 with the 100. يبقى I will use the 14 divided by 7, right? Here 14 divided by 7 gives me what? 14 divided by 7 equals 2. So, I will put 2 here in the 100 place. It's very important to write the numbers according to their place value. Okay, يبقى 14 divided 7, 2. I must put 2 over the 100. Then I will multiply what? Yes, I will multiply 2 times 7. Take care, this is 200 and not 2. So, 200 times 7 gives me what? 1400. Then, what's the next step? Yes, of course, I will subtract these two numbers. So, 1429 minus 1400, the answer is what? The answer is 29. Look here, I have 29, so I will repeat all the steps again. Okay, ask yourself, can I divide 2 by 7? It doesn't work, of course. ما أقدرش أبداً أعمل 2 divided by 7. So, what should I do? هقول لكم حاجة very important here that you shouldn't forget it. When adding a 0 in the 10th place, if one of you asked me, طيب, here, مادام قلت 2 cannot be divided by 7, يبقى I must add 0 in the 10th place, right? طيب, حد هيسألني, Miss, why didn't I write 0 here in the first place? Because, as you know, the 0 in the left side, it has no value, okay? And that's why I didn't put 0 here in the left side. طيب, تعالوا نكمل البروبلم بتاعتنا. 2 divided 7, I can't divide it, so I put 0 in the 10th, and I will regroup this number. 29 divided by 7 equals what? Yes, 29 divided by 7. Ask yourself, here 7 times what gives me number closer to 29 and smaller than it? Yes, it is 4. So, 4 times 7 gives me what? Gives me 28. The last step, I will make what? Subtraction. 29 minus 28 equals what? Of course, 29 minus 28 gives me 1. As you see here, 1 is less than 7, so 1 is my remainder, right? Okay, so 1429 divided by 7, the answer is 204, and the remainder is 1. The last step is to check if the quotient is correct or no. What have you thought of or used to check your answer? إزاي هعمل check وأتأكد إن الأنسر بتاعي صح؟ Do you remember in the last lessons when we said that multiplication and division are inverse operations, عكس بعض? So we can use them to check our answers. طيب, if you multiply the quotient by the divisor, we will suppose to get the dividend. يعني لو الانسر بتاعي صح، لو أنا عملت الكوشنت times الديفايزر هلاقي الانسر بتاعي 1429. تعالوا كده نجربها مع بعض. Let's do it all together. طيب, now I will multiply 204 times 7. Okay, 204 times 7. Okay. Here I want to use the partial products multiplication. Can you remember it? So, first of all, I'll multiply 200 by 7. تعالوا كده نعملها مع بعض. 200 times 7. 200 times 7 gives me what? Of course, 1400. I will write it here, 1400. Then what should I do? I'll multiply 0 by 7. 0 times any number gives me 0. So I'll put the answer here. Then what should I do? I'll multiply 4 times 7. Yeah, 4 times 7 equals what? Of course, 28. I will write it here as you can see it. Then what should I do? I will add all these numbers. I'll start with the unit, then tens, then the hundred, and then the thousand. So my answer is 1428. Type, stop here. The dividend is 1429, as you see here, right? Does that mean our division is incorrect? هو ده معناه ان انا الديفيجن اللي عملتها دي كلها غلط؟ It would be incorrect if we didn't have remainder. عارفين لو ما كانش عندي remainder, so it will be wrong. But here I have remainder 1. So what should I do? Yes, I must add this remainder to the product. يبقى I will add 1428 plus 1 اللي هو remainder. So my answer will be 1429. This is my final answer, and which is the same answer as the dividend I have. That being so, we have checked our solution using the multiplication. Now you can answer the rest of the problems on your own and check your answers. To do that, we need to find the dividend, which is equals the divisor multiplied by the quotient plus the remainder. لازم نعمل الquotient. لو عندي remainder لازم أعمله plus الquotient. Across the last lessons, we learned different ways and strategies we could use to answer the division problems. Today, we further practiced finding the solution, and we have learned how to check it. This will enable us to help our friend with the problem we have in Connect part on page 320. Let's see it all together. Here the Connect part, as you see here. The problem says what? The problem says that Kazim wants to travel from Cairo to Alexandria. The distance between the two cities is 218 kilometers. As you see here, the distance is 218 kilometers. He plans to stop 3 times. عايز يقف 3 times through or along the way. After how many kilometers should he plan to stop? هيقف كل قد إيه أو كل مسافة قد إيه؟ I want you to think of how can we help our friend Kazim to solve this problem and the strategy you advise him to use, and show him how to check his answer. Now, record your ideas on a paper. When you go to school, show your ideas to one of your friends in the class, and you may also hear their ideas. ونسمع الideas بتاعت الفريندز بتاعنا. If they were in your shoes, لو هو مكانك هيساعدك ازاي؟ وأنه طريقة هو هيستخدمها to solve this problem. وهتبقى نفس الطريقة اللي انت استخدمتها ولا هيحلها in a different way. Now we have reached the practice part on page 321. Let's move to the practice part here. As you see, here in the practice part, I will answer problem number 3 with you, and you're asked to find the quotient of 2,704 divided by 3. Okay, let's see it all together. Right. Here I want to solve this problem all together. We can divide 2 into 3 groups, right? But first, let's write the problem here. I will solve it with you. 2,704 divided, let's write it again. Okay, 2,704 divided by 3. Okay, now how can I divide these two numbers? Yes, I will set up my problem like this. Write the first number here and write the 3 here. Now, first of all, write my steps: division, multiplication, and subtraction. So, ask yourself, can I divide 2 by 3? ينفع أعمل 2 divided by 3? Of course, no. So, what should I do? I will regroup. يبقى هعمل 27 divided by 3. Here, 27 divided by 3 gives me what? 9, of course. So, I'll put 9 over the 100. Then I will move to the next step, which is multiplication. I will multiply 9 times 3. Take care, this is 900 and not 9. So, 900 times 3 gives me what? Yes, 2,700. Then, the third step, I will subtract these two numbers from each other. The answer will be 4, right? Then, what should I do? We divided the 100 now, and it's time to divide the tens. هو أنا عندي tens هنا? No, I don't have any tens. So, what should we do? Yes, just like we have learned today, before dividing the ones, we need to add 0 in the tens place. يبقى لازم أحط 0 هنا in the tens place. Then I will divide the ones. 4 divided by 3 gives me what? Yes, gives me 1. Then I will multiply 1 times 3 gives me 3. I'll put it here. The last step, I will do subtraction. So 4 minus 3 gives me what? Of course, gives me 1, and which is the remainder. 1 is my remainder. Now I am sure you can answer the rest of the problems. That being so, we have now finished our lesson where we practiced answering division problems using the standard division algorithm. And we learned how our knowledge of place value can help us to identify the quotient, and learned how we can use the multiplication to check the product of multiplication. And now, to improve our skills and practice more and more of what we have learned in today's lesson, you can scan the code in front of us and go to the digital copy on the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. Thank you so much for your watching, and see you soon.